Welcome, everybody, to Deep Look, Ultiworld's weekly show about the goings-on in Ultimate. I am Keith Raynor, taking over as host for today, and I'm joined by Edward Stephens, a frequent co-pilot here on the show. Glad to have you in the place of typical host Charlie Eisenhood, who's out producing U24 games basically right now out in Logroño, Spain. Edward, glad to have you back on, though.
Thanks. Always a pleasure to be here. I can see from the graphics below us that we've suddenly, as of today, invented a new position at Ultiworld, editor extraordinaire. Anybody wants to be an editor extraordinaire, just submit your applications. Keith at ultiworld.com is where to send them. Please, he needs a lot of them. So
I do. This is you're totally right. So I appreciate that you're offering me some help here. But we got plenty to get to and not a lot of time to do it in today's show. We're going to be talking about the under 24 World Championships. We'll be talking about wrapping up college season with some awards chatter, which will probably end up leading over into our sub bonus, where Edward and I, two pretty opinionated voters, with some strong differences, I think, this year. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that in the subscriber bonus segment when we go out the back. And we'll be talking semi-pro and club later in the show, looking at some of the new moves that we've seen on the club rosters as we get deeper into it. But right now, before all that, let's get to our trivia question of the week. All right, Edward, trivia question of the week this week, multiple choice coming for you. How many consecutive games combined across all three divisions has the USA under 24 program won as of this round? Like prior to this round that I believe might still be a lightning delay as we speak. Prior to this round concluding, how many games have they won consecutively? I'm going to give you your choices. We'll go from top to bottom here. So A, 125 games in a row to 110 games in a row. B, 110 to 90. C, 75 to 90 to 75, or D, 75 to 50. Which one of those numbers do you think is correct?
All of those are all of those are a lot of numbers. So I was gonna guess like, oh, maybe 18 games in a row, maybe 31. So yeah, I have some real reformulating to do at this moment while I think about it.
Take a moment to recalibrate the numbers now that you've heard how big they are, and see if you can land on the right answer. I'll tell everybody about another number, and that's 20, which is the year of this year's anniversary for Breakmark. 20 years straight. They're celebrating by doing Instagram giveaways. So make sure you're hitting Breakmark on Instagram so you can get into those free entries to get some free stuff. And they also heard that their customers love bundles, but sometimes just want some shorts or a jersey or a reversible. So they brought down the price on their core sublimated items, $35 for the short sleeves or the reversibles, $30 for shorts. You get the same quality, the amazing customer service you're used to with Breakmark. I mean, they're already doing work for the Premier Ultimate League, for the Western Ultimate League, and a ton of great teams. Could be you too. They're pumping out orders now, so go ahead and get involved with either one of their bundles or get them at an even more affordable price. That's Breakmark. Edward, you had a chance to land on what might be the right number for consecutive wins by the USA under 24 program.
All right, let me let you in on my thinking here. So I know the U.S. tried to lose today against Italy in the Open division. They didn't. If you haven't checked it out, it's a pretty fun game. We have the back half of it in our video library. But before then, I was struggling to find a time the U.S. U24 lost a game, except for, I can't remember if it was the final or the semis in Perth, Australia, I think. It was the USA women's team. I know this is like one of Charlie's like bee in his bonnet issues where they just didn't play Jesse Schaffner and he was losing his mind about it. So I'm thinking that was like 2018 or something like that. And if I do the math, I'm thinking 8 games per team per cycle. It's been 3 cycles since then. So I'm going on the low end, 75 to 90.
All right, 75 to 90. Seeing if the chat's got any answers for us. Hola to GA Ohio and howdy to Brent Pointer in the chat. The answer is bang on 100. So that would have been the B range. They won 100 straight as of today. That was the impetus for this question. We'll see by the end of today, though. They're still pushing towards your number. They're hopefully they won't be they're not going to lose any games, but they'll maybe push into a new range during the course of this tournament. We'll see how they do, but there's some compelling challengers, and we can start to look at this under 24 grouping and where we're at in the tournament. And we'll start in the open division because, as you mentioned, we saw quite a scare for for the open team in under 24 competition. So we see the tables here. US is 5-0, but that was very close to being 4-1 early coming. This is coming into today. They were 5-0, I believe, or as of today. This is now. This is fully updated. So they were very close to taking a loss. They're trailing against Italy in open division competition earlier today.
Right, yeah, I think they went down 4-0 to the Italian team and had to come back down. I mean, when we picked up the stream, it was something like 10-8 in favor of Italy, and the U.S. had to make a bunch of huge plays to come back after that. I mean, we saw during like a tie game situation, Dexter Clyburn blocks the Italian first throw attempt, which for some reason was like a hammer to an undercut on the break side. But Clyburn got both his hands up and ended up scoring the bookends on that. We saw a Declan Miller to Tobias Brooks up connection, but we also saw a ton of huge plays from the Italian side. Players like Poltok and Rossi are having massive tournaments, and they were clearly amped for this game. It was a pretty fun one to watch. I don't think we have video of the first half, but I'm a little shook.
Well, I posed this question in the Discord, in the live Ultimate channel, which is the place to be if you want to be talking about these U24 games as they go on, or really any live Ultimate. We got PEC coming up as well. Is this better or worse for the field? Is it better to like see the US on the brink, know that they could be taken down if you come out and you play a great game? Or is it worse for everybody that the US now got that out of their system, got the lights the fire underneath them, gets to learn about what stuff they did wrong? Is this better or worse for the rest of the field's chances of taking down the US?
I think it is so much better for the rest of the field. I saw in our Discord a lot of people were calling it worse. Maybe, Keith, you want to take up the counterpoint there. But if I'm Belgium or Canada especially, because those rosters look pretty fantastic. They don't look quite as bulletproof as the US, but their top end matches the US top end extremely well. And if I'm either of those teams, I'm licking my chops right now, waiting for my chance to knock the US out. I mean, we have seen that the US can go down early. We have seen that they do have the fight, but you can't climb out of every hole you dig yourself into. And yeah, I think that was a massive, massive, sign that it's like, Red Dawn at night, sailor's delight, basically, for the rest of the field.
I agree in the concept that like other teams can get a boost of confidence if they were already shook by the US. For those top challengers, the Canadians, the Belgians, maybe the obviously the Italians are going to be one of the top sides as well. If they felt like the US was invincible, taking that sheen off is worth a lot. But if they already felt like they could get the US, this is going to make it worse. This is going to make the US stronger down the stretch. You want to get this scare game in quarters or semis, where if they can't fix things, they're donezo. Because I don't know that you're going to get a lot of shots of the US playing the way that they did today. in the first part of that game. This goes across all the U.S. teams, but the defense is just suffocating. I've seen so many
Okay,
possessions where they're playing against teams. The team can't even complete a pass.
it is, and I agree with you, but the fact that Italy was able to get well into the double digits against defenders like Justin Burnett and Oscar Graf, truly, I really think that's going to act as a booster for every team the U.S. plays again, including if they end up meeting Italy in the bracket. Like all of a sudden, that wall is
It
not a wall; it's a fence that might have holes in it. You know?
Well, let's take a look at the mixed division. There hasn't quite been the spice for the U.S. yet in the other division, but a really impressive contender emerging. And we expected a lot from this French U24 team. Charlie and I kind of went back and forth on them in Canada as being the top challenger for the US. But I think right now everybody has to feel like it's France after what we saw when those two went head to head. Very impressive showing from France. And the US has been absolutely dominant in their games as well.
Well, France have the win over Canada right now. They met in pool play before the power pools started. And it was like the U.S. game against Italy, except Canada couldn't come back. France went out to like a 4-0 lead. Canada, brought it close at the end, and France closed it out. And I don't want to sleep on this Canada side yet. I still think they're actually extremely strong. Players like some players I hadn't heard of before. Samantha Mock is an incredible defender. She's a Toronto Union player in the mixed division, and sometimes they play USAU club, and sometimes they just play Canadian nationals. Also Kelsey Maloney, number 27 for Canada. Watch out for him out on the field. And this is in addition to the players that we know. You get Mari Nielsen and Ryan Shigley running the point from the backfield. You get Mika Kurahashi running isolation cuts, and Lachlan Margison making plays. That's a really good team. And I actually still think they're not out of the race if they play the U.S. But the story of the mixed division right now is how does the French team stack up against the U.S.? And the French team, as good as they are, could have been even better, Keith.
Yeah, the French have a policy where if you're playing on the World Games team, you can't play with the U24 team. And there are what, like 5 players on the 5 or 6 on the World Games team who could be playing with this French under 24 team. Eva Bourneau, Elliot Bonet, Camille Blanc. We could keep going. But you wonder, like, almost if they had the full complement, are they maybe the favorites in the mixed division, which is like uncharted territory. We haven't been in that place since the U24 inception, really.
I I actually think they are. I mean, you get also Leo Stangunek and Zoe Forget who are on that World Games team, and then on the U24 team, players who have really stood out to me are Enzo Stangunek, who is Leo's brother. Lila Petitbon is having an incredible tournament. Malvin Schmidt has been one of the best players, or Malvin Schmidt is one of the best players I've seen so far. Juliette Bertrand. Enzo Forget looks like he could be. I almost don't know why Enzo Forget isn't on the World Games team this year. Laura Bloomy has been phenomenal on offense. Aman Babkian has been a great defensive player for them. I actually think like they can go 15 deep player for player against the US. And that makes them so scary. I mean, sorry,
I
that's if
wonder.
they had the World Games team players included in there.
I wonder if this U.S. team who's hasn't given up more than 3 goals, if they're going to get any tests prior to having to play a team like France. I mean, presumably they're semifinal, but maybe they roll through the semis, or maybe they're on track to play France in the semis. I guess I don't even know that based on the formats here. Anybody really stand out for you from Team USA in their first few games, their blowout wins?
Yeah, I the early standouts for me, just in terms of like doing the most, because everybody has a bunch of good moments, is Raquan Adkins on offense. I think has been stellar. Same with Calliope Cutchins. She seems so comfortable breaking marks, and Adkins seems so comfortable cutting with like true intent in space and then getting rid of the disc quickly. And then on defense, I've seen so much good work from uh, Anton Orm, Declan Kervik, and who else? Emily Posey is playing a bunch of really good defense as well. So they look strong, and the defensive level in general. That's what I really want to see France go up against. I don't know if they're going to get blanketed, even the way they were against Canada. They're not going to get blanketed the way they will against the U.S. on every pass.
All well said. I mean, I think Calliope Cutchins has to me been the standout player on the team, and she and Anton Orm, who's been awesome both ways. I think he's been one of their best defenders and offensive players. Those two have really stood out to me. It's also interesting to see across the teams that the young players who are marshaling the offense. Like I think Chloe Akimi and Sam Grossberg are on a line together, and they are the backfield like on that line. And it's like, yeah, we'll just let the 19-year-olds or whatever, we'll let them run the show. That's our U20 team can come out here and beat y'all. So I find that both amusing and interesting to note. Let's take a look in the women's division, where the U.S. has again been dominant, but their top contenders are still around with Japan, Canada. Uh, they're in this division. There's been kind of a big gap, though. I mean, the top teams have been kind of thumping everybody else.
Do you think either Japan or Canada have a chance against the U.S.? And I really want to ask you, Keith, because I have not yet watched Japan or Canada in action. I've watched a couple of the U.S. women's games, but I don't have eyes on the top challengers yet.
Probably not. Probably not. I mean, I think they're going to be within enough of a stone's throw that like if the U.S. comes out and plays a bad game, they could be in the same spot that the open side was against Italy. Like I could see the U.S. needing to come back from a deficit, but they could be down like 12-10 and still probably be the betting favorite against those teams. They could lose that game, but I still think even going into at the late stages of a game down, I still think they maybe should be favored to win a game, even against Japan and Canada. They look really dominant right now. But also we don't really have a gauge of what the competition is for them. But they beat Australia 15-1. That's usually a pretty solid program. They beat Colombia 15-5. They beat Germany 15-1. Now, I believe Japan bageled somebody, which is tough. Yeah, they bageled Spain. I could be wrong about this, but they look very good. It is not uncommon though for the Japanese to be a team that particularly has a way to trouble the US. I mean, this group, they look deep, they look really poised. Again, another team where young players are sometimes driving the action with like Zaza Gelfin getting a lot of touches. I've seen a lot of Jolie Krebs and Grace Maroon. I think look like they basically can't be stopped. It sometimes looks unfair when they're on the field. Like there's no way this person should be able to compete at this level. But just kind of overwhelming. Lauren Gaddu is just like a D machine. She's got Callahan's as well. Like they look very strong.
Yeah. Lauren Gaddu, Trout Waybright is especially just look great. And shout out Kylie McCroy as well, who's we kind of got a late introduction to. She joined the Carleton Syzygy squad as a rookie, kind of late. I think she was nursing an injury for part of the season, but boy, did she have a great nationals, and she's just continuing that super polished, powerful downfield cutting role now, and it's a treat to watch.
I'm a huge fan. Speaking of some of these college players, Edward, we wrapped up the college awards, so we can turn our attention to our college awards slate, which we just had the Coach of the Year drop yesterday. So that is our final.
Congratulations, Keith. Let me just say it before you tell yourself. Congratulations. I knew you would start with Coach of the Year.
It's the most recent one. I do appreciate Charlie posting a meme that I haven't seen before of Barack Obama giving Barack Obama a medal, which I thought was pretty hysterical reference to me. For the record, you will see it when I put out the voting counts, probably tomorrow. I did abstain from voting for Coach of the Year. Not a fool, but I appreciate the honor. Of course, it's really exciting. That said, though, there are more prestigious awards out there, and a great slate and some great debates I think have sprung up around these awards. I'll just kind of run through the list, and if we afterwards, I'm sure if we go to the sub bonus, we could talk a little bit more about some of the specifics. But we already did Player of the Year in D1 men's. That was Declan Miller, Tobias Brooks, and Micah Glass in order. Declan Miller, the winner. Brooks taking home the Offensive Player of the Year. His runner-ups were Ethan Lehman from UMass and Elijah Diamond from Western Washington. Defensive Player of the Year, Zeke Thorson. This is the one. This is the one that gets me. Ryan Dusair and Sam Kilgore, the runners-up in that category. Breakout Player of the Year, Ryan Shigley. That's 3 straight Colorado awards. Runners-up, Callahan Bosworth and Zoli Ishikawa-Zabo from Western Washington. Rookie of the Year, Nate DeMorgan. The runners-up, Sam Grossberg and Cedar Hines. And coaches of the year, the Carleton staff taking home the win. Timothy Schock asserting that he should be first in this list. We have a policy of not ordering people, but I'm giving him his due here. Luke Smith, Ben Wiggins from Penn State, and Tim Gilligan, Cable Merriam, and Cody Mills, the runners-up in the men's division. Any key thoughts from you at the D1 men's awards?
I know how good Sam Grossberg is, but he didn't play at Nationals. What are we doing? You had Mason Stone, Axel Olsen, Rowan Dunkerley, Elliot Hawkins, all of them not even on that podium because people are putting first and second, not first place votes. DeMorgan was far and away unanimous number one, but why are we voting for Sam Grossberg here? I don't understand it. You got to do it at the highest level if you want to win that award. He didn't, and I think we got it wrong. That's where I'm planting my flag.
This is one disagreement that we can vibe with each other because he did not make my 5. He did not make my ballot. So for the exact reasons you named, in a normal year, a normal rookie class, sure, he was incredibly talented, highly productive on a borderline Nationals team. I arguably the best player on a team that was of Nationals caliber. But they didn't play at Nationals. We didn't get to see him do the most important part of the season. He didn't end up making my ballot because we had such a stacked class. Like when we're talking about a team that won Nationals with 4 or 5 rookies playing huge roles on the team. You had Cedar Hines at Western Washington, Elliot Hawkins at Colorado, Mason Stone, semifinals teams littered with key rookies. And then the one people are not talking enough about, Rex Ewan from UBC, was probably their best player. Crazy to me.
Shout out Team Canada U24 Open.
Yes, not an undeserving vote getter, but him finishing second shows a lack of ball knowledge, in my opinion.
It really rubs me raw. Really rubs me raw, Keith.
I'm with you. This is one we can agree on. All right, we'll share more in our subscriber bonus segment. D1 women's division. We did the podium. Mika Kurohashi, our winner, with Chagall Gelfand and Khalil Phillips as our runners-up. Chagall, like in the men's division, the runner-up and taking the Offensive Player of the Year award. Devin Quinn and Laura Blumey, teammates, sharing the runner-up honors. Beautiful to see it. Defensive Player of the Year, Lauren Gadu, runaway there. Lauren Sadel-Fung and Fiona Cashin as the runners-up. Annabelle White takes home the Breakout Player of the Year with Poppy DeArmond McLeod from Cal Poly SLO and Kelly Tam as the runners-up. Rookie of the Year. This was what a contest for this spot. Eliza Barton from Carleton takes it home. Rowan Limp and Lauren Sadel-Fung as the runners-up. And the coaches of the year, the UBC crew, earning the number 1 spot with Washington and Carleton's coaching staffs taking the runner-up positions in D1 women's. What stands out to you from this group?
I mean, the two things stand out to me, and number one is, I mean, you alluded to it, that rookie of the year vote. Frankly, I could have ordered my top four, the three podium finishers, and Isabella Farr in basically any order, and felt satisfied with it. I don't know how I can't even go back in time and like figure out how I decided who was the most worthy of those four. Just four unbelievable rookie seasons, and like a clear cut above for me the next level, which would have been like Sanam Riziki Shaw, Melba Henley, Kylie McCroy, and and yeah, they were all within like two or three vote points when we did our tallies. It was very, very close on rookie of the year.
When I'm doing commentary on games, one of the things I talk about is that, like, because in Ultimate, when one team scores and one team loses each point, and it doesn't matter how close that individual point was. Like, it could have been a 51-49 split on how close the individual point was. One team gets one and the other team gets zero. And it felt like that in the voting here. We had four players that were clearly in the top four. Barton, the three on the board, and Isabel Farr that you mentioned. And I still don't think that captures how close it was, because I think it was really hard to decide who was fifth and who was fourth and who was just off your ballot. And even though a lot of us went in the same directions around those decisions and ended up making the numbers further away, like from that four to the next group, I don't think that encapsulates how close this was. Also, thank you for name dropping Sanam Roziki Shah from UC San Diego, because I had her the highest on my ballot, but uh, a very deserving nominee for this award, and again, just a stats class. So yeah, I appreciate that shout out.
And we can
Run
get
through
into
the
it, but Cal Poly SLO coaches in women's division were robbed. Should have been on that podium, maybe number one. I'm just saying.
I can't believe you didn't start there. Just running through, I'll run through the winners in Division 3. In the men's division, we already talked about Peter Mans, who won the Player of the Year. Jacob Felton continues the trend. Runner-up gets the O Pody. Max Swerin, the D Pody. He was also a runner-up for Player of the Year. The Breakout Player of the Year goes to Oscar DeSwan Aarons, like encapsulating the idea of this award. I think someone I literally didn't know who they were and was awesome at nationals. Braden Morrison takes Rookie of the Year, and the staff from Lewis and Clark takes Coach of the Year. And in Division 3 women's division, Zoe Costanza taking Player of the Year, and run it all the way through. Ella Widmeyer, runner up for Player of the Year, and also takes Offensive Player of the Year. Milo Brown from Wesleyan, shout out Milo, who's also playing the U24s. Defensive Player of the Year. Yes, that is two rookies winning Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. Unheard of things happening in a Division 3 women's division. Jocelyn Richardson from Davenport takes home Breakout Player of the Year. Milo Brown taking Rookie of the Year over Ella Widmeyer, and Coach of the Year, some weirdo sicko guy. Now the Rookie of the Year, there was some. I saw some chatter. There's some chatter on social media. How did Milo Brown win over Ella Widmeyer when Ella Widmeyer was runner up for Player of the Year and Milo Brown was, I believe, fourth off the podium? How does that work out? And the answer is not as interesting as you might think. Different voters for the awards than there were for the All Americans. All the people who there might have been one person who voted for All American who did not vote for the awards. But we can't force voters. We want everyone to vote. There are some people who maybe get to vote for All American and don't want to do the awards because they don't feel like they can do the full slate accurately, or they don't have time at that period in their life or something. So there are myriad reasons why we have different voter sets, but we also aren't going to turn somebody down because they want to do the awards but didn't get a chance to do All Americans for whatever reason, because we want more votes, not fewer. So if somebody wasn't around for All American votes, maybe they were busy that week or couldn't get a full set in or something, and they still want to do awards votes, we're not going to say no as long as they meet our prerequisite threshold for ball knowledge, as it were. So that's how we end up with different voting slates. And those players are so close. It's a tough slice either way. So I don't think it's too crazy for them to swap spots. Even though I get logically why they shouldn't, and I follow that logic. When I'm voting for All American and Player of the Year, I wouldn't reorder somebody for an award like Rookie of the Year. This is also we've never had this before. We've never had 2 Rookies of the Year who are also All-American Player of the Year quality players. All 3 of the Rookie of the Years got All-American votes in the D3 women. So future's very bright in this division. But just wanted to clear that up for anybody who was confused about it.
Also, there was a sudden electromagnetic pulse that scrambled the Ultiworld servers and might have interfered with the voting tallies.
I won't hear it. All right. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we'll be doing our semi-pro small ball. We'll be talking club rosters and ProLeague Challenge East. The club season begins. Edward, you get to sync Charlie's picks right away. All that and more on the other side of the break. We're back for the second half of this episode of Deep Look, where we will continue to slander Sam Grossberg, according to the YouTube chat. I love that he's now like a cross-community treasure. You got the Philly people out here defending him. You got the Subtle out here defending him. I love that. Also, Sam Grossberg's awesome. Like, he's a great player.
You want my vote? Come out to Athens Goldie. Come out to Athens.
That is
Goldie with me, Sam.
You could have been first, maybe, Sam. I don't know about that. Nate Morgan put on a show, but all right. So we still have plenty to get to, and we will start in our semi-pro small ball. We've got some news from the UFA this week. The Mechanics, the Detroit Mechanics, did it again, baby. They did it again. Another W for the Mechanics.
Titletown, USA, let's go.
Are Jenna and Sasha are going to come back? Like they're basically post their season. Are they going to come back to do a Mechanics minute for us? They get a 21-20 win over Pittsburgh. Fight off Pittsburgh, trying to make a comeback. But you'll love to see the Mechanics out there getting a dub. Jake Felden with 6 goals and 6 assists in the win. Wow, just marvelous material from the Mechanics. The other big news from an otherwise pretty quiet week, New York, the Empire on Friday night basically saved their season. They get a big win over the Rush at home. I'm pretty sure dooming the Rush, who are now 2-7 despite all of their big pickups. And New York is somehow second place in the division at 5-5. So the East continues to be wacky zone, but who knows what's going to go on out there. Not a lot of other big results from the UFA, but there's plenty more to come with the drama that we're seeing, especially in the East and some of the races for the top of these divisions. What's going to happen out West between Oakland, Salt Lake, Colorado fight their way back into it, and the South's gotten a little bit interesting with Atlanta and their losses that they took in a row. Carolina also kind of scrambling, so there's plenty of drama to be had in the UFA. Edward, any thoughts before we turn to the Western Ultimate League?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how much more Boston and Austin, the Austins, I will call them, have to do to kind of clinch home field in the playoffs. It's kind of close in the West between Salt Lake and Oakland, both having really strong seasons. It's close in the Central between Chicago and Wind Chill, both having really strong seasons. Those are clearly like up for fighting. But Boston, big 8-0 lead over 5-5 New York, 4-4 Philly, 4-4 DC, and Austin 7-0 because they didn't have the road trip up to Minnesota and Chicago like Atlanta did. And like I don't know who Austin has left on their schedule. I assume a game or two against Atlanta that'll be pretty important. But like Austin getting home field or Boston getting a home field could actually change the direction these playoffs go. So I'm kind of looking at those teams. What more do they need to do to clinch?
Austin plays Atlanta in Atlanta this week. That is their only matchup against Atlanta. They do still have 2 against Carolina left to go. But so based on that, I mean, I think Austin is very secure. They would, if they lost all 3 of those games, they might give up home field to Atlanta, and that is possible, right? That's not like a totally unreasonable outcome. They lose 1 at home to Carolina, 1 in Carolina, and 1 in Atlanta. Like you can see that parlay coming to pass. I do think they're in a strong position, but they could lose home field advantage because I would give them 3 losses, including 1 to Atlanta. Boston, I'm pretty sure they're locked. I mean, the next best team has 5 losses. Like unless I don't think Boston has 5 more games to lose. So I think that
They got
they
4
are
more
locked.
games, I think.
Yeah. So I think Boston's locked. And we were on this show. Not me and Charlie were on the show with Evan Lepler, and I was getting poo pooed for talking about Boston should be the favorite, and I just wanted to take my victory lap early.
Coach of the year, right about Boston Glory. Everything's coming up. Everything's coming up. Keith Raynor.
The other news was not necessarily about the results itself, but the Minnesota Wind Chill setting an attendance record against Indy. Just a random regular season game, 1,500 fans. This gets you into like kind of those all-time great UFA attendance with like Montreal had some crazy games. I think Toronto's had a couple of those. So wow, I mean, impressive to do this in just the middle of the regular season. Somebody believe what I heard was it was youth night. So you love to see that. Like if that's going to be the thing that drives you to great attendance, is the kids are coming out to watch and get celebrated. Like I'm super for that. So exciting for the Wind Chill.
Yeah, I thought it was James Pollard bobblehead night as well, which always drives the ticket sales.
What player would you want a bobblehead of the most? Any player in all of Ultimate.
Oh, I would want a Ben Yacht blowing kisses bobblehead, 100%.
That is extremely good. That's really good. I can't top that, honestly. I can't even come up with something better. All right. So we'll also take a look at the Western Ultimate League, who named their award winners. We're still all waiting to get the all-star rosters that we're going to see when the Premier Ultimate League takes on the Western Ultimate League all-stars. But we do have our Western Ultimate League award winners. I want to make sure that we hit on those. Kayla Helton taking home player of the year, or most valuable player, excuse me. We're the only ones who call it player of the year. Taking home the most valuable player. Great crop. Dean Alamelik, Abby Thorpe looking to run it back. Rory Veldman, Robin Fennig, the other finalists. But Helton, another year. And like, I think probably the GOAT of professional women's division competition, women's non-binary play, like has had the best career probably of anybody in this arena in a short time.
Well, let's hold off on that. Valeria Cardenas just lost her first game. So, but yeah, Helton is way up there. Clearly, the prime mover for the Super Bloom. They had a great season. She had a great season. It's no surprise. She trains hard. She's got one of the best minds in the game. She's got as much high level experience as anybody in the world. And she's a dog. She goes out, gets layout Ds. She throws huge hucks. She cuts like her life depends on it. Game in, game out. Perfect player.
I stand by what I've said about Kayla before, which is it's remarkable to me how best it feels like that she's ever been has been at this point in her career. That she is, not just not a spring chicken. She's not 26 or whatever, but she's in tremendous shape and is just playing at such a high level. It's really incredible to see. Offensive player of the year, run it back. Ari Nelson, they take home another one, and this is the preeminent thrower in the Western Ultimate League, so totally back this one, and has been just a huge part of what has made Colorado so successful over these past 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'm surprised the picture of them isn't of the OI blade shot, which I think of as like the quintessential Ari Nelson throw.
I know you're right, because it's the throw I think of too. So I know you're right. We did not talk about this beforehand. Defensive player of the year, Sadie Jezierski from Seattle, who we're probably going to talk about a little bit in some other areas too. But Sadie, big time defensive player. I love that. This is a player who I think came up really known for their offensive capabilities, but she's now cooking on defense too. Love that.
Led the league in blocks this year, Keith.
I mean, was just a machine. Is so good in the deep space. Like, he's not a huge player, but is nasty in the deep space. Obviously, gets a ton of layout blocks. Just reinventing herself in the back end of her career. It's not the back end. That's not fair. After the initial thrust of her career. Breakout player of the year, Brittany Stetmeyer from Arizona, and the coaching staff of the year was Colorado's from the Alpenglow. So that wraps up our Western Ultimate League thoughts for this week. And we'll turn our attention to club as we are into the burgeoning club season. Got ProLeague Challenge East kicking off the competitive portion of the calendar around the corner. And that means it's also roster season. Starting to see some initial roster drops. We've got a few to discuss, as we've seen some big names, or in some cases, some like big names just not going anywhere. Where do you want to start, Edward?
Let's start in the mixed division. I feel like there was some pretty interesting roster news, and part of it is our transition from the Western Ultimate League section, because your Western Ultimate League Defensive Player of the Year, Sadie Jezierski, has moved from playing Seattle Club to playing New York City Club. She is joining New York Exist. So you'll see her cleat up alongside Emily Barrett, Jolie Krebs, Axel Agami, Oscar Kohat, the Drosts, Kara Sieber. This is a really good team. They've been like hovering at near championship winning level for like 3 straight seasons now. I feel like one of the questions we might start to answer at PEC is this when they actually can break through and win the championship?
They're obviously have been contenders for years, and so I think that with the talent ads and the lack of key losses, they lose Josue Aloro is probably the most involved player, who's not going to be with them this year. I know Nina Finley also someone who plays a big role for them, but I think that getting Sadie Jezierski and Jeff Zhao, Eli Pressburg, like these are players who I think can, Audrey Parrott, who have the capability to jump in and immediately impact this team. I think you got to feel even better about Exist this year. They still have the core of what drives them, and have a ton of high level experience. So they're a team that should definitely be in your title contender conversation.
Yeah, they should, but also they have a lot of people to get through, including both the championship winners and runners-up from last year, both of whom have made improvements on the roster. So Ann Arbor Hybrid, have added a couple of Texas players. They're bringing in Abe Coffin, Chase Cunningham. They're adding Lily Hobday, who is kind of the driving force behind the Notre Dame college team that has come so close to making college nationals. And then You've got Sprocket, who out of seemingly nowhere, I mean, it's not nowhere because I feel like she was a main youth player, have added Devin Quinn. Massive kind of cross country move from her from UC Santa Barbara, burning skirts in the college season over to Sprocket for the club season. They could be running it back for another championship contention season too.
They'll be interesting. I think that there'll be some general reserve around them because they were such a surprise finalist last year, and I think that uh that residue will remain on them, which probably is unfair, but we'll see if they can back it up. Super talented. You're losing live player, going to be a big impact for them, but they return a lot of the other pieces from last year's team and are going to be opening probably, in the top 5 or 6 and in the semis and championship. I mean, if you're in the semis conversation in mixed, you're in the championship conversation. Maybe that's true in all divisions, but that hybrid roster, wow. They do lose some core pieces, particularly from the male matching side. You think, Shapinski, Adam Stoutberg, James Hill, those have been players who are really involved for them, but they maintain a really impressive group of women matching players. And they're going to get even more, I think, out of LG and Dalton Smith, who are kind of integrating over the past year or so. This team looks really good. I think I have trouble looking at anybody else as my opening title favorite. This is a very talented roster that obviously has experience as well. And to me, they got to be number one coming out of the start of the season.
Well, and don't sleep on Disco Club, Keith. I know they underperformed at Nationals last year, but they were great all season long, and they've added a couple of massive contributors. They got Joel Clutton and Lexi Zalk adding to the roster this year. I mean, they've got a few extras, but they're in the pool with hybrids. So if you've got like one pool play game you want to try to focus on Saturday, I think that's the one. Hybrid Disco Club is what you want to watch.
Yeah, they'll be another spicy team. I think getting to kind of run it back now with a sense of who the team is will help a lot for them this year. In other any other divisions you want to touch on for big roster changes?
Yeah, I want to talk about the men's division, and I want to start at a team that hasn't won a championship since 2018 now, but has been kind of at the top of our season leading conversation basically every year. And that is no different this year. It's New York Pony, who are undergoing kind of a massive roster upheaval. Pony have brought on Anders Youngst, Ben Dameron, who else? They're bringing on Ethan Lehman, Tristan Yarder. They're getting Saul Rushmeyer Bailey back from Dig. He and Oliver Thayer coming over from Dig. You'll see Jacob Cowan moving over from Blueprint. He's been one of Blueprint's he's been Blueprint's like ace in the hole for a couple seasons now. It feels like Calvin Brown and Scott Heyman were like, hey, let us call up some of our friends to join the team this year. And I don't know, I'm looking at this Pony roster, and all of a sudden, the way Marcus Brownlee's been playing, the way Sam Little played last club season, the way Kocher is always right there, I'm seeing a real championship contender, and they basically were that last year, but they look improved to me this year.
We don't have an official roster from them, right? They've not. All we have is their kind of preseason. We don't know exactly, right? Do you have a confirmed roster from them?
We don't know exactly. I'm scouting it out on ultrzr.app, but I think it's fairly reasonable to take a lot of these as real.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those ring ads are massive. I mean, those are plug and play, like all club level players off the bat. And I'll be curious to see Lehman coming off the college season. He feels like someone who could really have a breakout club year for them. But pulling some guys from some of the other top teams that you go up against, like Dig and Ring, is a sound strategy. So I'll be curious to see that. They do lose some solid players, but no one who I feel like is like at the top of the list for the guys you think of. when you think of this pony team. They do add some years, some miles to a lot of those tires, but as this team continues to push most of it into the 30, but it's a nice injection of youth. Calvin Brown, Youngst, Dameron, Yarder, Lehman. That's going to give them some fresh young legs to go send and run in the cup or whatever it is that the kids do, that you make the kids do when you're the vets.
And then
The
I'm
roster.
really. Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Keith.
Well, I was going to switch us over to the roster that didn't really change. But when you're the champs, whatever you put out is news. And that's a team that hasn't won a national title since 2024, Portland Rhino. You look at this roster, and I love that their Instagram post was our designer retired, which I'm pretty sure is true. I feel like I know that for a fact, but that's funny. And hey, super legible. Only Chander's incredibly long name is shifting things over here. But otherwise, pretty much a run it back roster, right? There is very few changes. I think 3 players leaving the team from last year's group, and very few ads, as you can imagine with that group. So the players who were driving the bus for them last year, Rafi Hayes, Micah Glass, Henry Ing, Jack Hatchett, they're all back. So Dylan Freechild, David Sealand, this is going to be a pretty scary team.
I think Lucas Ambrose as an addition though is going to matter, and also never count out a Nick Stewart ring chasing season. He played great when he hopped onto Revolver and Sockeye back in the day. So he's getting the towers back together between him and Raider.
Yeah, it is funny to see that pairing running it back on Rhino of all places. Like I think if you had asked years ago, like where would they land, this is not I think where you would pick. But the other thing, times have changed. Alex Hall Witt, that to me was the big surprise name. He's like, I don't know if people would have picked him out from Oregon Ego, especially if he was standing next to Beckett Sessoms. If they switch places, I don't know if anybody will notice. I haven't seen them really up close, but just watching Phil.
I think that's actually one of the tricks for this Rhino roster. They're ready to switch in and out a couple of lesser known guys without anybody being any the wiser.
Well, we'll see what the future holds for Alex Hallwit. Intriguing name is one of the most athletic guys from that Ego team. Any other big men's division rosters to touch on?
I want to talk a little bit about Truck Stop. They got knocked out in quarters last year, but they played Rhino as well as anybody did when they were there, and they lose a couple of massive pieces with Johnny Malks and Troy Holland. Believe they're both gone to Seattle Sockeye. So it's like, yes, they have players like AJ Merriman and Thomas Edmonds who can fill the Malks role on offense if they need to, and yeah, they have another set of great defenders, but how much can they shift that talent and continue to play at that super, super high elite level the way they have been? And also, what can Aiden Downey, who has joined the team, do to add to their firepower? So I'm really interested in them.
They're a team that, because they feel so driven by the system and their chemistry together and their knowledge and comfort of the system, which was the Malk system, right? Like, you think of the people who feel like the architects of the system from the on-field setting, and they're not there. Johnny Malks and Rowan McDonald. How is that going to change the identity of the team on the field? And I think that generally means that when they lose a piece, it has a bigger negative effect, because it's like the cohesiveness is part of what is the strength of the team. Johnny Malks, his value to any average team, I think, is lower than what it is to a team that he helped design the system for and command. So, obviously Truck is going to stay super good. Like, don't get me wrong. But just kind of elaborating on what I think about Malks leaving the team and how it could impact them, because we could see them shift identities a little bit. I think the game's kind of come to them. Like, they set the pace. And so the style of play has grown to match a little bit more of what Truck's doing. And that means that other people will be more comfortable. coming into that group, and that they're less likely to change because they may be tweaking things. But uh, the, this truck team is definitely an intriguing one, and I agree with you that Dane Downey's role is one of the biggest things to watch.
Let's move on to the women's division. There have been some pretty interesting roster moves there as well. One of the ones I've looked at the most is Brute Squad. They are getting a couple of players who appear to be at the total ceiling of their powers right now in Jimena Montana, who's moving over from Bent, and Liv Player, who is transferring from the mixed division from Boston Sprocket. We just saw what Liv could do at London Invite. It was rumored how well she was playing at all the World Games tryouts, but of course those were not videoed for the general public. But she looked awesome in London, playing as part of the slightly expanded USA World Games roster. And I've been watching Jimena Montana play in the PUL for Atlanta Soul and been unbelievably impressed. I'm pretty sure she's on the Colombian World Games roster. So adding those two pieces are huge for them.
Absolutely. And how Liv Player feels like she fits right into how we used to think of Brute Squad, and can be that like a key defender who can fit into the system on offense. Montana has just been so good as of late. So being able to add, that's a lot of talent to add to this team. So I am fully ready for Boston to be again competing for a championship. Can't overlook Grace Connerly. And I know you're excited to see Annabelle White try and put some club players on a poster as well. So
she did it a few times for book club last year. She's got it. She's ready.
So definitely you see a lot of the usual names too. Your Angela Zoos, your Carolyn Torn. So a lot of players back as well for this team. Left Kovalchuk, of course.
Name to watch, potential breakout player, and I don't know exactly how well this translates, but Dorothy Damasio Donahue was so good at Goalty Nationals, and if we can see a little bit of that Goalty magic for Brute Squad this year, I think we could be in for a pretty special season from her. So,
any other women's division rosters that jumped out at you?
I mean, I kind of, Fury looks great. Yeah, Scandal looks great. Flipside looks great. I'm a little nervous about Molly Brown and Raleigh Phoenix. Both of them have a lot of talent, but seem like they're losing a little bit. A couple of players from Phoenix have migrated north to Scandal, and Molly Brown, a couple of players seem to have elected to go mixed. A couple of players who would normally be on their radar are playing for Colorado Kelp, who are a really interesting roster. And I wonder if they're at that kind of like truly competitive at semis level as we've like thought of them both for years. So like, what do you see when you look at this Molly Brown roster, other than Bob Cryer holding that circle so nicely?
Just lovingly, really. I see what you're getting at. The incoming talent is almost entirely comprised of Colorado Quandary players, and it's just tough to have that be the sole well when the teams that you're competing with are drawing from other elite club teams. And I'm as big of a Faye Burdick stan as you're going to find, and I think Faye Burdick is going to come out and be a perfectly good elite club player from Jump Street. But when you're asking to compare Faye Burdick to Jimena Montana, or God knows what Fury's going to do. I mean, Fury adds their most ridiculous players all the time. Like I constantly talk about how they bring in elite club players already, and last year felt like kind of an exception to that. But they still turned in those players and were super impressive. So there's a definite benefit, and we've seen teams like Phoenix benefit from having players from kind of within the system, known quantities who know how to operate with your leadership group, with your style play. There's a definite benefit to that. And maybe that's what Molly Brown leads into. the leadership for this Molly Brown team has been so instrumental in what's made Quandary successful. And so maybe that connection and cohesiveness helps them be more than the sum of their parts. But in the arms race, I think it's tough when you're losing talent to other local teams that could be coming in, and there's not a lot of out of town talent coming in. When you think of like the stuff we've seen with teams like Bent or DC drawing out of town talent as well.
Well, who do we think is going to win this tournament, Keith?
Yeah, PEC East. We pretty impressive field, all things considered here. Which I'm curious who you're going to start with. Why don't we, since we're in the women's division on these final rosters, and we're just talking about Bent, who's in the field here. Why don't we look at the women's division first? Number 1 seed going into this tournament, Phoenix. There are 4 pools, and the other top teams in the pools: Sixers, Bent, and Iris. Edward, your impressions here on these small 3-team pools that we've got going into PEC?
Yeah, I am interested to see what Kelp can do in the bracket, but the real wild card is like who's gone away from U24s. There's a few Irish players out at U24s playing for Team Canada. There are, I believe, a couple of Sixers players out, at least 2 Phoenix players out. I know Sarah Combs is doing nice work for the USA women's team. Erica Birdsong as well. And so I'm not really sure like what strength we're going to have these rosters at. That said, I think Sixers are going to want to put a good start on their season, and I think they have enough players who aren't over in Logroño right now that they're going to come out on top and give me Bent to finish second.
I think that this tournament is not going to be so telling about those top 3 teams. Although, I will be making my picks from them. I think what we really are looking for are who of these other teams maybe took a step forward this year or a step back. Can Siege or Starling challenge for a spot at Nationals? Can Parcha take steps forward to, be a bracket team at Nationals? Is Wicked or Kelp a contender to take a spot from a team or upset somebody? This Kelp roster drew some attention with some of their ads, so that I get why you name check them. But yeah, I think that those are the things I'm looking for more here. And I think I'm actually going to go the other way. I'm going to take Bent to win this, and I'm going to do it over. I'm going to do it over Phoenix. I'm stunting your Sixers call early. I'm going to take Bent over Phoenix.
Okay. I mean, you know that Lindsay Sue, our illustrious producer, is in Spain right now, Keith.
Fully aware. Okay. But Phoenix has a way, I think, of playing well even without some of their top players. They've got a lot of experience in that area, unfortunately. Which division you want to go to next? I picked this one first, so where do you want to go?
Let's go to mixed. I've got to give a shout out to Athens Murmur. It's the only team in all of Ultimate that I actively cheer for. But I don't think they're going to win this tournament. And I think it's really between kind of the top 7 seeds. I think everyone up to Disco Club is a threat. That said, I'm going kind of off the board. I think Slow, because they're so veteran heavy, are going to win this tournament, and give me an all Boston final. Give me Slow over Sprocket this year.
Oh, very, very interesting. I think this is I think we're bound for some surprises. I think we're gonna get a low seed that makes a run to like semis. A Mile High Trash, a Toro, a Shine at 8. Like I think we're gonna get somebody who makes a deep run. And that said, like even a bit of a hamstrung hybrid team is like still super talented. So it's hard for me to really get away from picking them or like Exist or Sprocket to win. I think I'm going to take hybrid over. Let me take a look at the Shine roster. they still got a lot of firepower on this Shine team. I'm gonna take hybrid over. I'm gonna take hybrid over rally in the final. That's where I'm
Ooh,
gonna
the
land.
rally pickup. I like it.
Uh, slow over sprocket and hybrid over rally. This division though to me is the most interesting. I think we can I
Yeah.
think we can get a lot of movement around here. So uh,
Keep
I'm
an eye on both Space Force, and I know Space Force has been a nationals team, but also Mile High Trash had some big pickups. They managed to grab Fiona Cashin and Riley Kirkman Davis, both of whom are kind of field shape changing players. So I think they're looking really strong.
and add on to a pretty nice squad. I mean, when you look at Ari Nelson and Abby Thorpe, Alicia Dixon, uh, Drew Rasmussen, Felix Pronove, like they've got a lot of talent there. This is a team that feels like they're gonna be able to make their best push yet.
Yep.
Um, shout out Lindsay Sue in the chat as well. So not just in Spain, but also in the chat. Um, and the men's division, we'll have to make our picks as well and wrap up here. Um, take a look at the men's division field. Pony, the number one seed, with Dig, Truck Stop, and Ring at the top of the tables. Notably, Bravo and Chain Lightning, RDU and Vault also in the field. Uh, what do you see here, Edward?
Okay, this one's hard. I know there's a bunch of UFA cross commitments, and I'm not even going to attempt to figure out who's going to actually be available, who's not going to be available, who's showing up late. I'm just going to say that on paper and momentum wise, I really like Diggs' roster. I think they're going to come into the season strong. So I guess Peter Porth is gone right now. I don't care. Whatever. Give me Dig. And boy, I'm doing a lot of Boston picking today. Give me
Yeah,
Dig over Chain Lightning. Chain has a bunch of fun pickups this year as well. Dig with the big international one with Sebastian Rossi of Bologna La Fata.
yeah. I also don't know what to make of these rosters. I don't know if some aren't even put in. Johnny Bravo's marked as varsity and has uh 12 players or something. So something's going on.
Who
Something's going
knows?
on weird there. Um, yeah, maybe it's a chance. Maybe it's a chance for a team to break out an upset. Um, give me truck over ring uh for my opening volley in the men's division. Uh, I feel like I'm guessing because of the absences. So yeah, I just have to own that, I think. But I'm kind of speculating that they'll have more talent on the field than some of these other teams, but it's tough to call. We will be streaming though, and we'll have 3 games in every round. So you'll get to see lots and lots of PEC East. If you need to get your club season fix in. Uh, any a your game to watch. You only get to watch one. Edward, which one would you pick?
I'm watching Exist Space Force. I think I think that will tell you a lot about both of those teams.
Uh, I want to say Siege Outrage because one of my Wesleyan players is on Siege. But I think the real answer is Rally and Mile High Trash. I want to see what MHT has as the bag. So that to me is the one I would tune in for. But we got a full schedule for you, so you'll be able to see all 3 finals. We'll have a pretty good slate of semifinals as well. So
And that's a
we
typo on
got
the final. It's not happening at 1:15 a.m. Just in case y'all were trying to set an alarm for
yeah,
1:15 a.m. Sunday.
it's not going to happen before quarters in that round. But maybe what they're trying some new formats. I don't know. We're gonna do the final
Magic of
first.
television.
It's a beautiful thing. All right. So that opens up our club season. When Charlie gets back, we'll probably do a more full club preview and do our semis picks, and we'll be sure to get hot takes in there from Edward as well. Before we wrap up, let's touch in our mailbag here. Pull something out of the bag. I wish we had a literal bag. You think Charlie would get me an actual bag? It says mailbag on it. So I'll pull one out of the mailbag. If you replaced the U.S. Under-24 Open and Women's Division teams with Carlton Cut and Carlton Syzygy, respectively, and Josh, our letter writer, notes that he chose Syzygy over UBC because, UBC is from Canada, so he can't take Team USA's place. How well do those teams do at the Under-24 tournaments? How well would Cut and Syz do if they were playing in Logroño?
Talking about 2025 Cut, 2025 Syz, right?
Yep.
I think they don't sacrifice that much top-end skill. I think they bring a lot of chemistry, a lot of direction. I'd put them both in semis and competing for a bronze, probably.
That's about where I'd have them. I think it's possible they would make the final against the U.S. and their clones, who presumably are on Team USA. And if you combine the two,
that mixed roster runs with France.
They would be closer to France than to the next tier down.
That's really what I want to see. I think that should be the rule from now on. The college champs from the two divisions have to combine teams and play as USA mixed.
Like old school national worlds for club.
Yes. Give me Revolver plus Kurt Gibson again.
Yes. Well, now you're getting Syz plus Declan Miller, which is still pretty compelling television, but I don't know if I want that, because then you're just, not only is the whole world rooting against this team, but America is probably rooting against them too. Like who wants to see Carlton go out and win a gold medal at U24s? We're already gonna have to watch them probably win a bunch of gold medals here in the States. I don't know if that's what the people want. At least not based on the crowd response when we were in Washington. So that's gonna do it for this week's Deep Look. Appreciate Edward stepping in to join the show, and appreciate you. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do. Helps us so much. And otherwise, we'll catch you on the next episode. Edward and I will update you on when we will be doing our subscriber out the back, where we will be going deep on our awards misgivings, of which there are plenty. So we'll catch you there, subscribers. Feel free to join us if you hit ultiworld.com/subscribe. You can also get access to Out the Back and so much more, including some of that PEC and U24 footage. Enjoy U24s, everybody. See you next week.
This just in, Keith Raynor names himself 2025 Club Player of the Year.
Podcaster of the Year coming my way. Take that, Charlie.